Silver is a strong contender for the dullest market of the year award, but given the strength that we've seen since October, is sentiment finally starting to change and we're going to see a real rally into year end? I thought we'd do an update on silver. When I've covered it in the past, in recent months, it's not one of my favorite markets. We have other markets soaring away, and the price of silver, as you can see, we've got the last 12, 14 months for silver here. It's just sideways. We've got big support. Buyers come in when the price drops down to 22. Sellers come in when the price gets up near $28, $30. But directionless over the last 12 months, the price of silver. I suppose what's interesting from a chart point of view, we'll come back and look at it in a bit more detail in a second. This slide that's been in place since June, the strength that we've seen during October has broken out of that trend line. So I wonder, does this point to the start of a turnaround in recent sentiment over the past few months? I do have a trade on silver at the moment. So at the moment, I'm short silver from the 21st of October from $24.20. The market's currently $23.60, so I'm up on that trade. But is being short the right thing, given the strength we've seen during October? I'll talk a bit about what's been going on with it, the news, why I disagree with some other analysts' opinion on silver. Then we'll come back and look at this chart in a bit more detail and see what the trade might be. Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com, and I thought, as it's the start of a new month, let's do an update on silver. Take a look ahead, what we might expect in the weeks ahead, what news has been affecting the price so far. As you know from previous videos, it's been a pretty dead year for silver and gold as well. We've seen other markets soar away, but these two precious metals have been left a bit by the wayside. So I wonder, is this going to change over the next couple of months into year end? As usual in this video, talk about the news. We'll go on and look at the charts in a bit more detail and see where the opportunities might be. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, if you could click on subscribe, it does help support the channel. It means we can continue to push out lots of different content on various markets throughout the week. And of course, at 2:30 every Friday, I now do the live stream direct from our YouTube channel. If you're subscribed with the alarm bell notifications pushed, get a message off YouTube just as we're about to go live. Right, let's get into it and take a look at silver in a bit more detail. So we know it's been a volatile year for silver. We've seen the price briefly above $30 back in, I think it was January, February this year, and then below $22. So a wide range, lots of volatility, but the direction has been sort of gradually edging lower. So why haven't people liked silver this year? Why haven't we seen investor sentiment positive towards silver? Well, stock markets have done well. Of course, at the time of recording, we're seeing stock markets this week again push out to fresh multi-year highs. So for investors who want to embrace risk, lots of opportunity in stock markets. For those who want to be perhaps a bit more defensive, a bit more alternative, we know it's been a good year for cryptocurrencies. We've seen the likes of Bitcoin, again in the last week and a half or so, push out to fresh all-time highs again briefly. So I think the likes of gold and silver have somewhat fallen down the back of the sofa from an investment point of view. People's attention has been on other assets. And I think that's one of the reasons we've seen really a lack of excitement in these markets. So what could help silver? Before doing this, I did have a look at a couple of videos out there on people who are big silver fans. I did the same thing when I did the gold video early in the week, trying to think, is there anything I'm missing when it comes to silver in terms of what's going to drive the price higher? And the silver fans seem convinced there's going to be an explosive move, but there's no real catalyst. It seems to be a similar argument to that they're making for gold. Because it hasn't done well this year, we're going to see it do much better over the next few months, which doesn't seem that strong an argument to me. We do have the spectre of inflation, of course. We've got inflation in the US at a 13-year high. Traditionally, if inflation remains high, then precious metals such as silver become attractive as an inflation hedge. You could also use the green argument. Here in the UK, we've got the COP26 climate change conference, which I'm sure you've probably seen on the news. Silver is used in, for example, solar panels. If we saw, a further push for clean energy, then perhaps demand for silver would pick up there. But I don't think, again, that's really the strongest argument. At the moment, sentiment does still seem weak to disinterested, I think, at its most positive. The price of silver is down by around 10% this year. We've perhaps seen the start of a turn in sentiment over the last few weeks. We'll jump and have a look and see if it's time to buy silver in a second. But first of all, let me talk about the levels to watch. So not much change from last time. I think on the upside, pretty much the hurdle, the obstacle for silver is $25, give or take 10, 15 cents. So that's really the big resistance level for silver. Lots of support left on the way up, shorter term support. For me, the most immediate support is down around $23. As you saw, I'm short at the moment of silver. Should I change my mind? Should I buy? Let's take a look at the charts and have a look at things in a bit more detail. So let's take a look at silver in a bit more detail and see where the opportunities are. I think there are arguments for being long and short depending on your time frame, but let's just start off with what we have in front of us. Let's kick things off with the RSI. I don't think the relative strength index is adding too much at the moment to silver. We did see it go overbought in October. I think that's when I did the trade selling short on silver. It's come out of overbought since then as the price has dropped, and it's dropped back to around about 50%. So I don't think we're getting too much from an RSI point of view. So for me, what I'd like to focus on is the price action. Like I said, it's been a sideways year. We've got good support, pretty big support really, from September 2020 down at $21.50, let's call it that sort of area. We saw the market spike down into that zone again in late September. And since then, we've seen, a really good recovery off those lows. On the upside, the market has struggled all this year with the $28 to $30 zone. Any sort of pushes into this area have been pretty much short-lived, and the price has moved lower. Then, since June of this year, we've had this downtrend. So the price has been sliding lower from around $28.50 down to that sort of $21.40, $21.50 area. But, what's happened in the last few weeks? We have seen the market, the price of silver, break out of that downtrend line. So we've seen them move through the downtrend, which for some people would suggest that the correction is over and we have to now start thinking about the market rallying from here. And I think there are a couple of ways of doing this. I'm short at the moment. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm short with a stop loss, I think, just above $25. For now, I'm sort of happy to stick with that short and see how things turn out from here. But if we looked at the really short term, or perhaps I should term it the relatively short term, this is an hourly chart of silver. So each candle represents an hour's worth of trading. Going back and picking up on that low in late September, we had seen a good trend. The market, the price of silver has fallen out of that trend. But as I often say, just because it falls out of a trend, first of all, doesn't mean that the trend is over and that's it. So I think if you wanted to trade silver and wanted to be a buyer, there are some obvious places, I think, to put your stop loss now. The most aggressive place for me would be the other side of the lows of the last couple of days, around $23.30. After that, I'd put my stop loss the other side of 23. That would, if I had to buy silver now, that's where I'd be looking to put my stop loss from a short to medium term trade point of view. Because I think if 23 gets taken out, the risk is we go back and have a look at those October lows at the very least, down at $22, which is why for now I'm quite happy to stay short. But I do wonder, are we starting to see finally a change in that 3 month or so trend for silver from the June highs? We'll see what happens. I think if it's going to rally, it needs really to start rallying now. For now, I'm happy to stick with my short because I think we'll just see more volatility for silver. I think there's a reasonable chance of a retest of 22, but it's perhaps not as clear cut a short because this trend has changed. So I think perhaps we could see further strength for silver into year end. Although I would qualify that by saying, I don't think we should start expecting $28 plus an ounce of silver anytime soon. So arguments for both ways at the moment. I'm sticking short, but interesting to see if we can recover back into this trend that had been in place since late September. That's it for this update in silver. Let's see if it can turn things around the last couple of months in the year and have something of a strong finish to year end. I'm not convinced of that just yet, but we'll come back. We'll do an update. We'll see how things are trading. But for now, from me, David Jones and Capital.com, we'll leave things there. Good luck with your trading. For more trading videos just like this, please subscribe to our channel.